gba ẹ̀kọ́ ó dáni lójú pé yìí ó jìyà iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkùn yé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé ẹ̀dàkùn yé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa ẹ̀dàkùn yé ẹni òbí wa lẹ́bà lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step forward toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle, the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. With this quote from Martin Luther King Jr., I welcome you to another edition of this wonderful program on radio, Education Today. Education Today is a program that aims to call attention of the public to education matters as they affect the effective running of the educational system and the achievement of educational goals. This comes on air every Saturday from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock West African time on this station, Light Radio. Our goal is to educate, inform, orientate, and entertain the society on educational matters, address issues affecting the educational system, influence public opinion, and drive effective educational policy directions to guide the formulators and implementers. For your comments, questions, and contributions, you can reach us via the phone number 080-9738-4000. You can also reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightradio, on Twitter @TheLightRadio, on Instagram on light_radio, on YouTube Light Radio. You can call or send a message to the same number I called just before, 080-9738-4000. We will go on a quick break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. just joined in, you are listening to Education Today on Light Radio. We kick off with the news segment. This is the news on Education Today, reaching you live from Light Radio. I am Adebamiro Adebola. First, the headlines. Under government ties teachers' promotion to students' performance. Federal government expresses renewed commitment to eradicating illiteracy in Nigeria. And then on fees hike, police tear gas disperse protesting UNILAG students. And on the foreign scene, Sunak may drop plan to ban children changing gender at school. Now, the news in details. Ondo State government has declared that the promotion of the public school teachers would henceforth be tied and based on the academic performance of their students. The chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, Honorable Victor Olabimto, who stated this, said promotion of teachers will no longer be business as usual. While meeting with the education secretaries from the 18 local government areas of the state, Olabimto disclosed that the state government would soon introduce performance bound for teachers of public primary schools, where promotion will be based on the academic performance of students. According to him, the directive steps became necessary to enhance better performance of pupils in public schools in the common entrance examination into public secondary schools in the state. The federal government has expressed renewed determination to eradicate illiteracy in Nigeria, estimated at about 56 million of the nation's population who cannot read and write. This is even as the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has lamented that halfway point in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, over 244 million school-age children are still not in school, with 98 million of them in sub-Saharan Africa. Speaking on Friday in Abuja during the commemoration of the 2023 International Literacy Day, Minister of Education, Professor Tahi Maman San, said the fight against illiteracy in Nigeria is a battle that must be won. Given the commitment and directive of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that illiteracy must be eliminated in the country. And lastly, the minister commended Audrey Azoulay, the Director General of UNESCO, and her staff for their continued support in coordinating wide-ranging technical and financial assistance of the United Nations system, donor countries, and the private sector in country-level implementation of initiatives and programs aimed at reducing the scourge of illiteracy worldwide. Personnel of the Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Police Force has dispatched students of the University of Lagos who are protesting against the hike in the fees payable by students of the university with tear gas. Recall that management of the institution announced the increment of the student fees by 400% a few weeks ago, and since the announcement was made, the students of the institution have continued to express their dissatisfaction over the development. Thus, the students last week resorted to carrying placards with various inscriptions gathered at the school junction to protest the increase in the payable fees. However, in viral videos making rounds of social media, some operatives of the Nigerian police were captured disbanding students with tear gas. The development has, however, continued to generate condemnation from social media users who berate the Nigerian police and the management of the institution over the development. The management of the Federal University Oye-Ekiti Fuoye on Thursday has announced the death of one of its students, Modutbe Atonda. The registrar of the university, Mr. Mufutau Ibrahim, disclosed this in a statement issued in Oye-Ekiti. Modutbe Atonda was a 200-level student in the nursing department of the university, and her body was found in a shallow grave behind the Faculty of Pharmacy building within the premises of the university. Some students of the university who spoke with newsmen on the condition of anonymity said the last time they saw her was on Monday when she was heading to the faculty to read. Meanwhile, the state police commander on Thursday said it had arrested 10 suspects in connection to her death. And on the foreign scene, Rishi Sunak is said to be considering ditching plans to use legislation to ban children from changing gender at schools. The government is trying to finalize long-awaited guidance for schools on whether pupils should be allowed to socially transition by using another pronoun or wearing the uniform of the opposite sex. Ministers had asked for legal advice on whether a ban on social transitioning in schools could be brought in, but the Tory attorney General Victoria Prentice is said to have warned that it could be unlawful under the Equality Act. Thus, according to the Times, the PM is backing away from a proposal to bring in a new law to impose a social transitioning ban due to worries it will open up a new rift in the Tory party. That's all on the news today, but before we go, another look at the major stories. Ondo government ties teachers' promotion to student performance. Federal government renewed commitment to eradicating illiteracy in Nigeria. Fees hike, police, tear gas, dispersed protesting University of Lagos student. And on the foreign scene, Sunak may drop plan to ban children changing gender at school. That's the news. It was compiled by Nima Ibrahim and edited by OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. For coverage of your educational events, seminars, conferences, fairs, competition, among others, you can call us on 070-250-74268, 070-250-74268. Or you can send us an email via educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. That's all we can take on the news for today. Right now, we will take the country in focus, and we have OLUBUNMI KAZEEM in the studio with us. Good afternoon, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
And can we have you with the country in focus, please?
You're welcome to the Country in Focus segment, where we consider a particular country of the world, its basic features, and most importantly, its educational system for the benefit of our listeners. I am OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. As the maiden edition of this segment on education today, the country in focus is Finland. Nested in the northernmost corner of Europe, Finland is a Nordic country known for its stunning natural landscapes, modern cities, and high quality of life. It borders Sweden to the northwest, Norway to the north, and Russia to the east, with the Gulf of Bothnia to the west and the Gulf of Finland to the south, across from Estonia. Finland covers an area of 338,145 square kilometers with a population of 5.6 million people. Helsinki is the capital and largest city. The vast majority of the population are ethnic Finns. Finnish and Swedish are the official languages, Swedish being the native language of 5.2% of the population. With a rich cultural heritage, a commitment to environmental sustainability, and a reputation for excellence in education, Finland has earned its place as a global leader in various fields. One of the standout features of Finland is its unique and highly acclaimed educational system. Finland's educational system is often regarded as one of the best in the world. It is founded on principles that prioritize equality, flexibility, and a student-centered approach. Finnish children start their formal education at the age of 7, relatively later than in many countries. This delay is attributed to the belief that young children benefit more from play and social interaction in their early years. One distinctive feature of Finland's educational system is the absence of standardized testing for students up to the age of 16. Instead of focusing on exams, the emphasis is placed on holistic learning, critical thinking, and problem solving. Homework is kept to a minimum to ensure students have ample time for extracurricular activities, hobbies, and spending time with their families. Finnish teachers are well-respected professionals who hold master's degrees in education. The recruitment process for teachers is highly competitive, and only the best candidates are selected. Teachers have a high degree of autonomy in the classroom and are trusted to make decisions based on their students' needs. Continuous professional development is also a priority, ensuring that educators stay updated with the latest teaching methods and research. Other unique features of Finnish educational system includes the equal opportunity for all. This makes Finland place a strong emphasis on providing equal opportunities for all students, regardless of their socio-economic background. There are no private schools receiving government funding, which helps ensure that all students have access to high-quality education. The comprehensive school system is designed to minimize inequalities in learning outcomes. Finland's educational system is not only a source of national pride, but also a model that many countries around the world look to emulate. Its success is attributed to a combination of factors, including a strong emphasis on play-based learning in early childhood, teacher professionalism and autonomy, a lack of standardized testing, and a commitment to providing equal opportunities for all students. As Finland continues to innovate and adapt its educational practices, it remains a shining example of how a country can prioritize education to benefit its citizens and society as a whole. That's all on our Country in Focus today. I am OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Education Today continues in a jiffy. Please stay with us.
That was the Country in Focus. Right now, we'll take the Profession of the Week with Saeed.
Good day and welcome again to the segment for the Profession of the Week. I am your host for this segment, Saeed Aremu. Here, we x-ray a particular profession or field of human endeavor within the educational sector, and I will be telling you what it is about, the knowledge and educational qualifications required for admission into tertiary institutions, years of training required, and schools that have the accreditation to offer these courses. Today, we will be looking at public administration. Public administration is the field of study and practice that focuses on the management and implementation of policies, programs, and services by government agencies and organizations. It plays a pivotal role in the functioning of government at various levels, from local to national and even international. Public administration encompasses a wide range of activities, including budgeting, public policy analysis, human resource management, and strategic planning. It aims to ensure that public resources are used efficiently, public services are delivered effectively, and government actions are in the best interest of the public. Public administration is often characterized by principles of transparency, accountability, and responsiveness to the needs of citizens. It involves collaboration between public officials, civil servants, and other stakeholders to address complex societal challenges and provide essential services. The field is dynamic, evolving to adapt to changing political, economic, and social contexts. Careers in public administration offer diverse opportunities for individuals interested in public service and governance. Some common career paths in public administration include a public policy analyst. A public policy analyst researches and analyzes government policies and programs to assess their impact and effectiveness. It provides recommendations for policy improvement and may work for government agencies, think tanks, or advocacy organizations. Government administrators. Government administrators manage the day-to-day operations of government agencies and departments. They oversee budgets, personnel, and the implementation of government initiatives. Non-profit managers lead non-profit organizations that address various social, environmental, or community issues. They are responsible for fundraising, program management, and ensuring the organization's mission is carried out effectively. Public finance managers. Public finance managers handle financial matters for government agencies, including budgeting, revenue collection, and expenditure management. They play a crucial role in maintaining fiscal responsibilities. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, careers in public administration, such as management analysts and urban regional planners, had a median annual wage of $87,660 and $75,950 respectively. Salaries in public admin and related careers can vary widely depending on factors such as education, experience, location, and the specific role within the field. To study public administration in Nigeria, admission requirements may vary depending on the university and program. Typically, candidates seeking admission to a public administration program at the undergraduate level must have a minimum of 5 credits in the West African Senior School Certificate examinations, including English language, mathematics, economics, and any other 2 relevant subjects. Admission to the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations required candidates to meet the specified determined subject combination, which often includes government or economics and 2 other relevant subjects. Several universities in Nigeria offer public administration as a course of study. Some prominent institutions include the University of Lagos, Ahmadu Bello University, Obafemi Awolowo University, and the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. These universities provide undergraduate and postgraduate programs in public administration, offering students the opportunity to develop a strong foundation in public policy, governance, and public management. Thank you.
Ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dẹni gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ọmọ tí kò gbẹ́kọ̀, ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà. Ọmọ tí kò gba ẹ̀kọ́, ó dáni lójú pé yóò jìyà. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Iṣẹ́ burúkú ni wọ́n ń ṣe, tí wọ́n bá jalè wọ́n wá tún fọ́lé. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, bẹ́ẹ̀ bá lówó kẹjọ kẹtọ́ wa.
You're still on to Education Today on Light Radio, and we are moving into the discourse segment, and our guest is here with us. We are discussing student unionism in Nigerian tertiary institution. Before moving into the discourse proper, our short quiz question. You will take our short quiz now. And the question is, what are the official languages of Finland? What are the official languages of Finland? Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 08097384000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer wins the prize. You can also be a part of the discourse by sending your comment and question to 08097384000 or drop your comment via the live video feeds on Facebook and YouTube. Now to our discourse segment. Join us on the program today via our in-house analyst and educational consultant, researcher and lecturer at the University of Lagos, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here again. It's been long that we have you on the program. Actually, it's good to have you back. Yeah.
So today we'll be looking at student unionism in Nigerian tertiary institution, and straight into the discuss segment. What do we mean by student union or unionism?
Well, talk about student union is actually more like a group or a gathering of people, students specifically, who have come together to actually interact and address issues affecting the general well-being of the students. And so that's a kind of union, one way or the other. So unionism has to do with, that spirit, that activism that actually pushes people to really fight for the interests of their members, actually. So at the level of, our institutions, so we also have a situation where, coming from the idea of labor unions, actually, labor unions exist to fight for the interests of their members, for their general welfare, fighting for wages, salaries, conditions of service, and things like that. So, but in the case of students, now we're talking about a group of people who have has taken it upon itself to fight for the general well-being of students, fight for reduced probably school fees, better conditions of living, better conditions of classrooms, of learning, and things like that, such that at the end of the day the students have conducive environment to learn. They are not afraid, at least in terms of their well-being, they are not afraid that probably anything would happen to them in the course of learning. They are not afraid that their right to be taken away from them without anyone being there for them as a providing succor and working generally on their behalf to ensure that anything that revolves around their focus on campus or in school and the general academic sojourn as far as the school is concerned is well taken care of. So that's the idea of student union or unionism.
So generally the main objective of student union is to serve the student.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, that's the overarching interest, actually, the interest of the students. Anything that would advance their course of learning or professional development, of enlightenment, exposure, and general well-being, of a student is actually the focus of that.
How are they able to achieve this? Their mode of operation. How do they drive their point home?
Well, one of the things they do actually is to engage meaningfully with themselves. They call what we call Congress every now and then, or a parliamentary council meeting or whatsoever, an avenue where they'll be able to meet the general student populace to really tell them these are the issues that we're facing, these are is the situation of things, and these are the things that we're trying. So that engagement is there with fellow students. So through their Congress. Apart from that, they also engage in collective bargaining with school management on different matters relating to the students. So that's one in terms of meetings, deliberations and things like that. With school management, they do that. So apart from that, sometimes they also use the avenue of writing, using different forums. Some they have bulletin boards, some they have sometimes they write to newspapers or different media houses and things like that. Sometimes they just they use banners or whatsoever. So they write to do that. Sometimes they also use protests, especially when they feel that communication, consultation has also failed. They also use protests to advance their cause. They also do media visits, to really intimate the members of the general public on what their plight is, what their demands are, and what they want the people to be aware of. Because sometimes you might not be aware, unless they come out to tell you, might not be aware of what exactly they are going through, especially if you're only hearing a particular perspective, especially the perspective they feel is perspective of their, so to say, oppressors. Those who have actually made their life worse off, or they're making their life those responsible for the harrowing conditions they are going through. So they think that if they also don't use the power of the media, a lot of people might not be aware. It will just be a case of this students or this student, they started their wahala again, they started their troubles again. They just like making us and things like so. They use all different methods, especially to do that. But the one they believe most, which usually they know usually puts pressure on the members of the school, school management, is that of protest. Because easily, that's one now members of the public will get to know what is happening again. But every other one, those ones are subtle efforts that a lot of people might not even know unless you are probably involved. And probably the one that might also, now these days now that we now even have social media, in the past there were no social media. So what you might probably have is the press. So unless they probably have some people that can actually sponsor them, they might not use that. In fact, you now have even a situation where sometimes they even go to court to sue school management when they feel that probably they are getting too draconian and they are really not even allowing the student body to really survive.
I think most of the time, for them to be able to drive on their point, it is dependent on the power that be, the government of the day. For example, you mentioned protest, and recently protest is not working, and having a sit down together, the Congress is not working, and it's like we are losing that the power of students coming together, because it's like we are speaking to tyrants as it is now, and we are losing that power of students coming together and then being able to achieve the purpose of our coming together. It's like we no longer have
Viral student,
we no longer have power to that. Oh, you are not doing this right. Can you do it in a way that suits us, that benefits us, that can help us, and our life as students, our academic life? We are losing it slowly, and it's just sad altogether. And I don't know what we can do and what better mode of operation we can do, because right now it's like all is failing and we don't know what to turn to.
It depends on how you actually view it. Because if it is truly failing, although you might not achieve the desired result, but then to a large extent, why is it that the so-called oppressors are actually intolerant of student unionism if truly it doesn't work? So I think it's also about the fact that you probably need to strategize. You don't have to probably use the same method every now and then if it doesn't work. There's nothing wrong in being dynamic. You're strategizing, and at the end of the day, to also using some other so to say informal processes that probably have proven to work, or probably you have not even deployed before now. So who says? See, the truth of the matter is, a lot of times I can understand the fact that even the student body itself does not have those vibrant leaders with the intellectual capacity to really meaningfully and strategically engage with the authorities. So I think that is something that we really need to bring back.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that answer. And then I believe that being a part of the student union, there should be something neat for them. Like, you cannot just be fighting for other students and you are not getting something out of it.
Do you mean the student union leaders or the students themselves?
Student union, what are the benefits of belonging to student union?
Now, there are two perspectives to it because of the way you have couched, that question. The first perspective is that of the students themselves, on whose behalf the union exists. The other one is that of membership of the student, especially the leadership cadre, for those who belong in that cadre. Now, for the students, body for the students, general populace as a whole, existence of student union, one way or the other, means that you have a particular platform to ventilate, your the satisfaction with the situation of things in your institution, at whatsoever level. And I'm saying this because having such a platform means that you are not going through that issue alone. You, some other people, you have a platform where you can discuss. Imagine where such platform does not exist. It means you leave people with their individual problems, or they can just decide to, pour out their, frustration at anybody, at anything, because you have really not provided a platform for them to express themselves. So that's one. Number two is also an opportunity for you to be able to carry people along. So that at the end of the day, you give them a sense of belonging. That, okay, some people really even care about our existence. You have some people that care about our well-being. And we have people that can fight on our behalf for our interest. So when you have that, believe that such a platform exists, it gives you the opportunity to watch out for things that you're dissatisfied with, and you feel that, okay, this is where to channel, our grievances. So you have that. Then again is the fact that it provides platform for people to learn leadership and to meaningfully engage, those that are more powerful than them. So that alone, if the student populace understand that those are some of the benefits that you have for belonging there, they see it as also one of the avenues by which they can also learn some other things outside just what you learn in class. Because talk about leadership, talk about extracurricular activities, talk about meaningful engagement of authority, talk about collective bargaining, talk about grievance procedure, and so many other things like that. All these things, they are practical realities that the student union body epitomizes. So when you don't have such, it means your education, even as a student, is incomplete. And that's why is it that, for instance, you even have it at the level of primary school, you have class leaders. What do you have class captains? What do you have head boys in school? Head boy, head girl. What do you have the student parliamentary council, even in secondary school? Or what you call the student representative council.
The beauty of these things is when these unions, these leaders, these leadership figures that we have different levels of education in Nigeria, when they are able to do what they have been put there for, the moment you feel like people that represent you are failing, that sense of belonging is out of the question already. It's just like we don't want to gather together and everybody is sad about something.
You see, the truth is, a problem shared is a problem half solved, as is usually said. It's better than just suffering it alone. I'm coming. Minus that is the fact that if you don't learn how to meaningfully engage the authorities, if you don't learn it, and you don't practice it at a lower level, when you get to a higher level, you'll still not be able to manage it. And that's why for a lot of people, for those that are able to engage meaningfully as students, when they get out there, when they start working, you would see that value of leadership they have acquired as student leaders. You will see it, manifesting in the way they engage with people, they relate with, their supervisors and many other things like that. Minus that is also the fact that, like I told some people, do you know that, for me, I said this, in fact, I still said it this morning here, that you cannot divorce the challenges that we had with managing the EndSARS protest from the fact that many of these participants in this belong to schools where their student unionism really, don't exist, where the authorities of those institutions really don't allow the student union to thrive. So when they don't have such opportunity to engage with those that are higher than them, when they have any opportunity to just explode, to ventilate their anger, they go beyond bounds without a restriction. Now, bringing it down to those who participate there, apart from the fact that it's an opportunity for leadership, for personal gains, some benefit from it, because sometimes you get allowances, there are allowances attached to it. And that's why I see some of these people that you see in government today, it's not today that it started. They've been collecting sitting allowances, going for meetings, overnight meetings, and things like that. Some of these, extra effort beyond just being a student, you have it that you're able to learn the rigors. Imagine you doing marathon meetings with members of the executive, with members of the legislature, meeting with the school management, with NAS outside, meeting with probably one state governor or things like that. Almost at the same time, within this, and you are still able to manage that with your studies. For those that are able to do that successfully, they're able to learn multitasking, they're able to learn time management, they're able to learn scheduling, they're able to learn fixing routines, protocol services, and so many other things like that, because it gives them a whole lot of exposure beyond just what you learn in classroom. See, some of these things, they are not things that you learn in classroom. You can't even learn it in classroom. So that's why I feel that there are also benefits of belonging to this, as much as there could also be some disadvantage, because if you are unable to manage your time, your academics could also suffer. And unfortunately, when you now have, like you described them, those tyrants, it's easy. Scapegoating is something that is very, very easy with student union leaders.
I think that's part of the reasons why they successfully abolished it on certain levels and denied students the privilege of being represented by a particular set of people. But right now, do they play any specific roles on school management level? In my secondary school days, I was the SRC secretary. I performed the roles of sitting in school management meetings, telling them what the school wants, going out for competitions, representing the school as it was like ambassadorship, but on secondary school level. Then what exactly is the role of the school union when they sit on board with this school management? What do they do?
All right, it depends on the level of engagement that is allowed by the institution concerned. For institutions where they exist and they are functional, they are viral, you have representation even in the governing council of these institutions, just even beyond the school management. Governing council, because in the governing council supervises and oversees the activities of the management. The management sees to the day-to-day running of the school. In terms of management of the finances, policy making, and so many other things, like some critical decision making beyond the level of just the school management itself, is the government council that takes that. And there's a level of representation even for student union. That is if they are allowed to play that role. Imagine sitting with elders, those who are probably your fathers or even grandfathers, and you're there sitting with them. You might not even say anything, but you're learning a lot. It's a subtle avenue for you to learn so many other things, to get exposed, and one way or the other also chipping one or two things. So they're able to bring to bear the challenges the students are facing, to that level. That's number one. Then number two is also the fact that there are some policies that schools formulate that they have to get the buy-in of the student union leaders so that they can get the cooperation of the students for such policies to be adequately and properly implemented, effectively implemented. So by the time you have the cooperation of the student union leaders, it becomes easier for you to be able to pass it down. It should really cascade down to the level of the students. So by the time you have the student union leaders, it's easier for them to be able to speak to their own people, to engage them, because they also have organs. Imagine having, at the overall level, you have the student union government, you have organs at the hostel level, you have organs at the faculty level, you have organs at the departmental level, you have organs at the even state association level, you have organs at probably departmental, some of these professional, bodies and so many other things like that, because they register with the student union and they are able to regulate their activities. Now, for schools that don't have such, all those things are passed on to the Dean of Student Affairs. And at the end of the day, because of delay in decision making and so many other things like that, sometimes you don't get quick approvals. Sometimes they just use because they don't have time, you just say not approved, not because it is not good, but just because they feel like, see, you don't have time to be able to manage all this, because any little thing that your wahala don't come, so we don't even want it. So before you know it, just even kill it before it even starts. So it's not so many of these things like that. So with that, and some other times they're even able to attract investment even to the school. Because some of these programs that you do in school, the student unions or student organizations, they go out to, lobby, to representing the student body, bringing it to their attention. So they're able to attract investment, they're able to attract sponsorship, so many of that CSR, corporate social responsibility, programs, they're able to attract that, to some of these schools, especially where the student body is active. Are you with me? So imagine when you are exposed to all these things. Can you compare that to someone probably that only went to school and all that it goes is from classroom to hostel to library back to classroom, and I just like that with no other thing attached to it.
Belonging to something like the student union is like a training for leader. Is a training ground for leadership.
Yeah.
You begin to train yourself, then you find yourself shifting into the role when you leave school and you are able to join political parties. But then if students are not careful when they are joining this union, they are going to shift to become exactly the government of the day they are trying to fight against. That is why I believe that's part of the reason why many people are a bit weary of the student union idea. Oh, these guys are the same thing. There are certain members of staff, students they're like, oh, is it really necessary? This is just like another body trying to control us. They are taking the shape of our government in our classrooms, and they are. Last semester we had school elections for people to run for president, and I can tell you that it was a very dirty election at university level. And these are the same people that are going to move on to national level to become our president, our vice president, and occupy government seats. But let me ask you, why do you think people are not going to buy the idea of, student union representation level and other stuff?
Well, I would say for two levels. First, for members of management and for students themselves. See, for students themselves, a lot of them feel like, if anything happens now, you guys will call saluta, and we'll be the ones that will be told to pay for damages, or we'll be the ones that will suffer it, probably because the school will be short. So our time in school, the duration of schooling will probably be extended. So the idea of extension in duration of studies, the issue of inability to curtail the excesses of the student union when they start their so-called aluta, and at the end of the day probably some things are damaged or some issues come up, that at the end of the, rather than even giving the student freedom, in fact, it curtails their freedom the more, because you now probably have it told, you'll be told to, apart from paying damages, there are some other document that you'll be forced to sign an affidavit or sworn affidavit of good behavior or code of conduct, something like that, because it probably eventually the union might be proscribed, and they even curtail your freedom the more. Any little thing now you have to, so many stringent things like that you might not be able to do again, just because of, as a reaction to the students probably protest or what have you, like that. So those are some of the issues that a lot of students feel like, oh, I don't want to wahala. And minus the fact that for some of these unions too, those that participate, some of them are not even accountable. The same way we abuse or we criticize or condemn our leaders, that they are not accountable, they are not trustworthy, they embezzle our funds and things like that. That to a large extent, how accountable are these union leaders themselves? But then if you actually don't teach them at that level, when they also get to a higher level, how will they also cope? So, but that is part of it. Then for student, school management, see, let me tell you, number one reason why they don't want this, is they don't want anybody to actually question their authority.
I feel like they're afraid of the accountability stage of everything.
Because, you see, let me tell you, one thing that student union does is to, I don't know how they do it, but they get account of the school. They get to know how much probably the school makes. They get to know how much comes into the school, and they start questioning, what have you been able to do for that? You claim that you spend this on us, and these are the things that we have on ground. See, we are living witnesses. So how can you claim that this, and that? So see, anybody checkmating high authorities is seen as a threat by them. So at the end of the day, what they want is a situation where we have passed the instruction, just go and obey. That's what the school management.
That is why there is so much ruckus concerning this fee, 400% fee increment. Like, there's no change in the current educational system in the University of Lagos, but you are increasing the school fees ridiculously high, and you don't want students to fight against it. It's unheard of. There will of course be some type of uproar against such decision.
But then, see, institutions are not meant to be draconian. I don't believe they should be. They shouldn't be. And at the end of the day, we're also not dealing with robots where you just, teleguide them or remote control them. I just feel like it is, that's, those are some of the things they use to actually key them.
Methods.
Sincerely, it's sad. God bless you. It is sad because, unfortunately, we say these are ivory towers. So what message are you trying to pass to the outside world as institutions that we are trying to reform these people, and at the end of the day, we're actually treating them like robots? Is that education? That's indoctrination. Education is supposed to actually give you liberty, the opportunity to, be free-minded, to ask critical questions. You're not just take. It's not a question. It's a question of why. There must be justification for anything. Now you are saying that you don't even need to justify anything. We have passed the instruction. We have thought for you. We have reasoned for you. Your own is just to obey. How does it work? Like that. So that is the most important thing for this management. They don't want anybody that will question their authority. And for that reason, they will do anything to protect that. Let me tell you, even sometimes when you see some of these protests that probably lead to becoming violent, there are infiltrators
that have been sent.
That are usually even sent by even some of these school management, just to cause trouble. So that at the end of the day, you put the blame on the student leaders, and you say, that was what it caused. See, the same way they told us, okay, there was protests at Lekki, and some people were burning, BRT buses. At
Ebute Metta. Nothing to do with the protest.
It has nothing absolutely to do with the protest. But at the end of the day, what would they say? Now it was NSAS, the protester that caused that. So at the end of the day, is this same scenario playing out? And at the end of the day, we have a community, a society, where you say you are training the future generation, and you are also taking away their right to self-expression, their right to, oppose a situation they are not satisfied with, and you're not even giving them an opportunity to really express themselves. It's even a case of, have you even taken your time to hear them out? You cannot know everything about them better than they themselves.
One of the things that I learned from over the past few weeks is the fact that to be a good leader, you must have been a good follower.
Absolutely.
You cannot lead people if you've not followed before. It's very important that you have being in that space where you submitted yourself under some authority. There's a poem by Niyi Oshundare. It says the title of the poem is "The Leader and the Led," and then he was bringing in animals that wanted to be king of the forest. It was literally the poem was talking about African leaders and Africans, and then there was a part where he mentioned the giraffe wanting to be king, but he cannot even see the ground. I was like, this is the problem. It is part of the problem.
Sincerely,
You cannot relate to the problem of the masses because you've not been there before. Even if you've been there before, maybe you've forgotten. You've been in power for so
long that you have forgotten what it takes to be, to be the downtrodden.
So when they're expressing their grievances, you want to kick against it. That no.
Because you are not seeing what they're seeing. You're not experiencing what they're experiencing.
There are a lot of people that are in the University of Lagos that are going there because of the affordability of the fees. What do you want the woman selling pepper that has hope of sending a child to Unilag to take her out? What is her hope?
See, this is not about Unilag. It's all about our institutions, especially federal institutions, where we are actually killing anything that has to do with student unionism. And I find that rather unfortunate, because I think that the truth is, a lot of the people that you have in management today in some of our tertiary institutions were formerly members of student union, were student leaders themselves, or probably even if they were not student leaders, were those that benefited from the struggles of student union leaders. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you were beneficiaries of some of these things. Imagine the period of the Ali Must Go era where you fought because government decided to change, the system, where one person was actually entitled to one chicken, and I say two people were entitled to one chicken, one full chicken. And at the end of the day, that was all where the issue started, because of the meal ticket. At the end of the day, that this was all you're supposed to be served. You're not changing that. Now I'm trying to imagine, do we even have, dining halls in our institutions anymore? It doesn't exist. Without the meal ticket, they don't exist anymore. Now, you benefited from, free education, where you were sent on scholarships and things like that. And today, you people are in government. You are the ones in charge of the institutions, and you have taken all those privileges away. And at the end of the day, you are not even allowing the students an opportunity to express themselves.
There should be a time where we even review the whole requirement to apply for scholarship. It is ridiculous. Well, let's go on a quick break now. When we return, the discussion continues. Please stay with us. You are still listening to Education Today on Light Radio, and we are discussing student unionism in Nigerian tertiary institution. And we have Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, a lecturer in the Department of Educational Management, University of Lagos, as our guest discussant. Don't forget, you can be a part of this discussion by sending your comments, questions, and contributions. You can reach us on Facebook via www.facebook.com/lightradio. Twitter at @DLightRadio, on Instagram at @light_radio, on YouTube at Light Radio. You can also call or send a message via SMS or WhatsApp on 08097384000. A reminder of our short quiz. What are the official languages of Finland? What are the official languages of Finland? Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 08097384000 or our Facebook or YouTube page. The first correct answer wins the prize. Moving on, one more question, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM. What do you think is the future of student unionism in Nigeria?
Well, I believe that student unionism has a future if truly the management of our tertiary institutions, the government, actually see the need for it. But more importantly, I think it's about the students themselves. They really believe in themselves. I know quite well there might be issues even with the student unions, with the students themselves, and this idea of situation and things like that. But one thing is this: your education needs to be complete. And education goes beyond just what you learn in the four walls of the classrooms alone. See, and that's why you have you see, what you call extracurricular activities to some education, you say that it's not extra, it's actually co-curricular activities because it takes place simultaneously. So at the end of the day, we need to bring everything together. Minus that is the fact that students themselves need to hold their leaders accountable, and they need to be better versions of themselves. So they should not be a replica of the same set of people that we condemn, that we criticize, that they are not like this. So among yourselves, how are you doing? How accountable are the student leaders to the students themselves who actually elected them? How well do you carry them along? How accountable are you? How well have you been able to discharge the trust that you have been given? Then how competent are you to really even undertake this assignment? Because a lot of times it's not just about furthering your political ambitions, because there are people that from year one, the next thing they start nursing, I want to become president of so and so from year one. And at the end of the day, even the studies, the intellectual foundation they ought to have for them to really discharge that responsibility, they don't have it. And the reality about leadership is you need to seek knowledge before you actually get leadership position, because if you get the leadership position first, you will not have time to actually go learning. So it is important that you learn, you get exposed, interact better with people, then you might now probably seek political power. By and large, it should be about the interests of the students themselves, not about your own personal interests or some of the personal gains that you want to have access to those in authority, so that at the end, by the time I finish, I can go and contest as a councillor, as a member of the House of Assembly in my community and things like that. It should go beyond, some of those parochial interests. The interest should be the well-being of the students. And as a result, and I think that these days now, to a large extent, we need to get ourselves acquainted with the rights and privileges and duties of students. By the time we are able to know our rights, especially those ones that are constitutional, see, there are ways by which you can meaningfully engage these people. One of the things they don't like is you involving the lawyers. So they don't want you to utilize opportunities provided by the constitution to be able to demand your rights. And at the end of the day, I feel that to a large extent, if we equip ourselves in that regard, some of the things they do, some of these actions they take, see, I am sure that there are some things that they bring up, especially some of these institutions, that are contrary to the law. But because they know that a large number of these students don't know their rights, that's why they take some of these things for granted. But if probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different cases, different students, for everyone, probably someone is suing them, and they're actually being made to pay hefty fines as damages and things like that because of the psychological trauma they cause some of these students. I'm sure some of them, they would reshape the approach to some of these issues. And by and large, is also the fact that, you must be better than your oppressors. It is injustice for you to replace your oppressor and become a worse oppressor. So I think to a large extent, we need to show these people that you say that you are condemning that is a better alternative to addressing some of these issues. And that is why I want to challenge those that are students today. Please equip yourself intellectually for any opportunity that you have to engage with the people in authority without being abusive, without being insulting, without being disrespectful. Address the issues. Provide alternatives. Provide solutions to some of the problems that they have. Because a lot of time, imagine for instance, look at the government of Nigeria will say, because subsidy is bad, there is corruption, the next thing is let us take away the subsidy. If probably you have people that are actually engaging with government and saying that no, we can actually address some of these false subsidy issues in Nigeria if we are able to do A, B, C, D meaningfully without even necessarily removing the subsidy, because it's not the subsidy that is bad, it is the management of the subsidy that is the issue. So at the end of the day, if you're able to tackle the issue of the management of the subsidy, then we could actually achieve this better result. Then automatically, if at the end of the day you do that, also use the power of the social media effectively. The social media is not there for you to just drag people. No. Use it to provide alternative solutions to some of the issues facing us in the society. And I believe by the time we do that, probably we'll have better results with some of this student unionism.
Okay, thank you very much. That is all on the discuss segment today. It was an indeed insightful segment. I would like to appreciate our in-house analyst, Mr. OLUBUNMI KAZEEM, for the beautiful insight he has provided on today's program. We'll go on another break now, and we'll come back for the words on the marble. Please stay with us. You're welcome to the Words on the Marble segment of Education Today, where we take a look at memorable quotes that are educational and inspirational to everyone. Today, we have a quote from Cesar Chavez. According to him, we are convinced that non-violence is more powerful than violence. We are convinced that non-violence supports you if you have a just and moral cause. If you use violence, you have to sell part of yourself for that violence. Then you are no longer a master of your own struggle. That's our Words on the Marble for today. The objective of unionism is to fight injustice, and one of the most potent approaches to it is using non-violent means. Using violence gives our oppressors the excuse to kill our agitations. They despise the truth and they are afraid of our resolve and unity. Let us not give them a lame excuse to shut our voices and kill our resolve. Stand up for what is right and what is just. And now, for our quiz segment, we have a winner. Shukurat Olaore, congratulations, you are our winner for our quiz today. A special round of applause to you, Shukurat. And the answer to the question, the official languages in Finland are Finnish and Swedish. Finnish and Swedish. Shukurat Olaore, congratulations to you once again. This is to inform you, our esteemed listeners, that you can advertise your products and services and also showcase your event on our program. This you can do by calling the numbers 070-3953-8998 or 070-250-74268. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let's know how you feel about today's program through our various platforms. www.facebook.com/education today, on Twitter @education today, on Instagram @education_2day. That is education_2day. YouTube Education Today. You can also send an email to educationmediaservices@gmail.com. Many thanks to the entire crew of Education and the management of Lights Radio. The supervising producer has been Said Aremu. Do join us same time next week on this station. I am Adebamiro Adebola. See you next week and goodbye.